In a quiet little town lived an elderly woman named Eleanor and her fluffy white cat, Nimbus. For Nimbus, Eleanor was her whole world. Every morning, Nimbus would wake Eleanor with a gentle purr and a soft paw on her cheek. They'd spend their days together, Eleanor knitting in her favorite armchair while Nimbus napped on a sunbeam nearby. Their home was a cozy bubble of warmth, filled with shared silences and the comforting rhythm of their quiet life. Nimbus loved the scent of lavender that always lingered on Eleanor's shawls and the gentle way her wrinkled hands would stroke her fur. Life was perfect. It was a simple, happy melody that Nimbus thought would play forever. She felt safe, cherished, and deeply loved. But one day, the familiar melody of their life was interrupted. Eleanor grew frail and had to be taken to a hospital. Nimbus watched from the window, her heart sinking as the ambulance drove away. The house, once so full of life, fell silent and empty. The scent of lavender began to fade. Nimbus wandered from room to room, her soft meows echoing in the stillness, a lonely question with no answer. She'd curl up on Eleanor's empty bed, burying her face in the pillows, searching for a trace of her human, a sign that she would be coming back. The days blurred into a long grey wait. Loneliness was a heavy blanket, and fear was a cold draft seeping under the door. Eventually, Eleanor's family came to clear the house. They were kind but distracted, their faces etched with worry, in the gentle chaos of packing boxes and moving furniture. Little Nimbus slipped out the open door, frightened by the strangers and the disruption. The world outside was big, loud, and overwhelming. The familiar comfort of her home was gone, replaced by the harsh reality of the streets. She hid under bushes, shivering from cold and fear, her white fur becoming smudged with dirt. Every passing car sounded like a monster, every shadow held a threat. She missed her warm bed, her full food bowl, and most of all, the gentle touch of Eleanor's hand. She was just a small, lost cat in a vast, uncaring world. Days turned into a week. Nimbus grew thin and weak, her spirit dimming with each passing sunset. One rainy afternoon, curled up in a soggy cardboard box, she had almost given up hope. That's when a pair of bright sneakers stopped in front of her. A young man named Alex crouched down, his voice soft and kind. He wasn't loud or scary. He simply offered a gentle hand and spoke in soothing tones. He saw not a dirty stray, but a beautiful creature in need of help. Hesitantly, Nimbus allowed him to scoop her into his arms, wrapping her in his warm jacket. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, she felt a flicker of safety. Alex took her home to his modern sunlit apartment. It was very different from Eleanor's cozy cottage. There were strange gadgets and sleek furniture, but there was also warmth. He gave her a bath, gently washing away the grime of the streets, and a bowl full of delicious food. He named her Cloud because she was as white and fluffy as one. Nimbus, now Cloud, slowly began to trust this new human. Alex was patient and playful. He'd toss crinkly balls for her to chase and build forts out of pillows where they would nap together. He worked from home, so she was never alone. His laughter filled the apartment, a new, upbeat rhythm in her life. She found a new sunbeam to sleep in, and a new lap to curl up on. A part of her heart began to heal. Life with Alex was good. It was different, but it was happy. She had a new home, a new name, and a new best friend. She'd greet him at the door every evening, and they'd spend their nights watching movies. Her purrs a rumbling soundtrack to their quiet companionship. Yet, sometimes, a familiar scent, a gentle song on the radio, or a glimpse of an elderly woman on the street would stir a deep, forgotten ache in her heart. She'd look out the window, a distant memory of lavender and wrinkled hands floating in her mind. She loved Alex dearly, but a small, persistent part of her still longed for the first home she had ever known, for the first person who had ever loved her. Meanwhile, months had passed, and Eleanor had recovered enough to move into a quiet, assisted living facility. Her health was better, but her heart was heavy. She missed Nimbus more than words could say. Her new room was comfortable, but it felt empty without her feline companion. Her family had told her Nimbus ran away, a story meant to spare her more pain, but it left a void that nothing could fill. She'd sit by her window, watching the birds, and tell the nurses stories about her beautiful, clever white cat. She kept a small, framed photo of Nimbus on her bedside table, a constant reminder of the love she had lost. Every night, she'd whisper goodnight to the picture, hoping that wherever her Nimbus was, she was safe and happy. One sunny afternoon, Alex decided to take Cloud for a walk in a special pet-friendly stroller. He thought she'd enjoy the fresh air and sunshine. They strolled through a beautiful park adjacent to a large, peaceful-looking building. As they passed a row of windows on the ground floor, a woman sitting in an armchair looked up. Her eyes widened. It couldn't be, but the fluffy white cat in the stroller looked just like her Nimbus. With a shaky hand, Eleanor tapped on the window, her heart pounding in her chest. She called out a name, her voice barely a whisper, carried away by the glass, but fueled by a desperate hope. Nimbus. At the sound of her name, the name she hadn't heard in so long, the cat's ears twitched. Cloud no, Nimbus jerked her head towards the window. Her eyes locked with Eleanor's. The world seemed to stop, the scent of lavender, the feel of a gentle hand, the sound of a soft, familiar voice, it all came rushing back in a tidal wave of memory. She began to meow, a desperate, pleading sound, pawing at the stroller's mesh screen, her entire being focused on the woman behind the glass. Alex, confused by her sudden agitation, stopped and looked. He saw the elderly woman, tears streaming down her face, her hand pressed against the window. He saw the look of pure, unadulterated recognition in his cat's eyes, and in that moment he understood it. Alex brought the stroller to the entrance and explained the situation to a kind nurse. A moment later, Eleanor was wheeled out into the sunlit courtyard. As soon as Alex opened the stroller, Nimbus leaped out and ran straight into Eleanor's waiting arms. She buried her face in Eleanor's lap, purring louder than ever before, a torrent of love and relief. Eleanor sobbed, stroking the familiar soft fur, whispering her name over and over. It was a reunion of two souls, a broken melody made whole again. Alex watched, his own eyes wet with tears. He felt a pang of sadness at the thought of losing her, but it was overwhelmed by the pure joy of seeing her so incredibly happy. He knew this was where she belonged. From that day on, a new routine began. The assisted living facility, seeing the incredible bond between Eleanor and Nimbus, made an exception and allowed the cat to stay. But this wasn't an ending for Alex, it was a new beginning. He visited them every single day. He'd bring Nimbus her favorite treats and sit with Eleanor for hours, listening to her stories. Nimbus now had two families. She'd spend her days napping on Eleanor's lap, filling her original owner's life with purrs and joy, and her afternoons playing with Alex, her energetic young friend. Her heart was full, overflowing with the love of two wonderful people. Her world was no longer just a cozy cottage or a modern apartment. It was a boundless space filled with twice the love, twice the cuddles, and twice the happiness. And Nimbus, the little cat who had been lost and found, knew she was the luckiest cat in the world. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to follow for more heartwarming stories.